A terrified tiger sits perched in a palm tree, growing impatient and noticeably angry. She's perilously close to hundreds of onlookers who have tried for hours to capture the big cat in a small village in eastern India and return her to the wild. But seconds after help arrives, the frightened cat pounces.
Tigers in this particular area also have a history of eating man.
The job was very difficult because people were all around. People were all around us as well as all around these tigers.
The Bengal entered the backyard in search of food. Within minutes, everyone in this tight-knit community came to help their neighbor.
It's very natural. There was a panic all around. People were afraid of their own safety.
To protect the big cat and the villagers, the decision is quickly made to tranquilize the tiger. But a doctor on scene makes a stunning observation. This tigress is pregnant. She's hit in the leg with a dose of the tranquilizing drug ketamine, the only drug that won't kill her unborn cub. But there's another risk now. Ketamine makes a tiger sleepy. It won't knock them out immediately. Minutes pass. The villagers believe she is fully sedated. They approach the tree and try to knock her down with sticks, hoping to return her to the wild. And as soon as the drowsy tiger hits the ground, she goes on the attack. The stressed-out tigress grabs hold of a man who is trying to tie her up, digging her claws deep into his leg. Tigers have large, retractable claws that they pull back into a protective layer of skin. They can expand out 4.5 inches and can easily inflict fatal injuries. Villagers run for their lives as the tiger releases the man from her death grip and turns on them. Finally, it looks like the tranquilizer is taking full effect. She sits down next to the lake and falls asleep. Now, moving very slowly, she plops into the lake. Despite the danger, villagers are determined to return her to the wild. But they are not going to make the same mistake they did before. This time, they hit her with branches to make sure the tiger is safe enough to approach. Their primitive method proves effective. Once they know it's safe, they rush in to make sure she doesn't slip under the water. A net is brought in to pick her up and carry her off. It is a dramatic procession as the entire village shows up to take the sleeping giant to the animal hospital. Thankfully, her unborn cub is fine. Despite the attack, many from the village make sure this magnificent endangered animal made it back into the wild. After being checked out, she was released several miles away from the village. They used a boat to make sure they were safe too.
You cannot always make 100% sure what a wild animal do, because wild animal is wild.
Blood-curdling screams from an Anchorage, Alaska zoo.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Somebody's coming. Catherine's thigh was thoroughly engulfed in Binky's enormous jaws.
In the clutches and jaws of Binky, a nearly 1,000-pound male polar bear, is 29-year-old Catherine Warburton from Sydney, Australia.
I thought the bear was eating her from the toes up because her legs were through the bar and he was growling. And he had his paws around her legs and was chewing on her.
Catherine had jumped over 2 low-lying barricades, hoping to get a close-up photo of Binky in his cage. Instead, Binky got the close-up. Binky has plunged his canines directly into Catherine's left thigh. A polar bear's canines are longer, sharper, and spaced wider apart than in other bears. That extra space allows them to grasp and tear without interference from other teeth. Binky's canines are dangerously close to the main femoral artery in Catherine's leg. Larry, a medical doctor, knows there is not much time left.
Knowing the anatomy of the body, and especially the lower extremities, I think Catherine was perhaps an inch or two away from death.
As she stood in front of the chain-link fence just 4 feet from the main cage, with her camera to her eye, her peripheral vision was impaired.
I felt I was 5 feet away because it seemed a long way, and when the bear had stretched its arm right through its cage, because it had very, very long arms.
Binky was able to stretch his agile arm through the 8-inch space between the bars and use his oversized webbed paws to grab the unsuspecting woman, pulling her tight to the cage.
Don't stay down, lay down, lay down. Lay down. Lay down.
Finally free of the bear's powerful paws, no one knows for sure if Catherine's injuries will be fatal.
How did she get down there? She walked down there?
She is rushed to the hospital, where it's determined the bear narrowly missed hitting her femoral artery. She did, however, suffer broken bones and torn ligaments in her left leg, but at least she's alive.
I just cried out to God and said, oh, please God, I'll do whatever you want. Just take me away from this bear. Drop my foot, drop my leg, don't let me go. Because I just can't take the pain anymore. And instantly, the bear dropped my foot.
Lake Nakuru National Park in central Kenya is a haven for wildlife. Spanning 50,000 acres, the spectacular park is naturally abundant in food sources. A perfect place for this hungry leopard. The snarling big cat was captured after killing farm animals. Villagers worried they could be next. The rangers and park personnel immediately get to work, using a nearby tree and several ropes to open the cage door a safe distance away from the angry leopard.
We tied a rope in the gate of the trap, threw a rope through a branch tree, and we started pulling the rope. And the trap gate actually was open.
The gate's open, but there's a big problem. The leopard's not moving. Ranger Alexander Rono, that's him in the truck's cab, is growing impatient. He makes a critical mistake, one with tragic consequences. Alexander, who's been working with big cats at the park for 28 years, thinks he has a solution. He leans out the driver's side window and repeatedly jabs a long stick into the leopard's cage. The leopard clearly doesn't like what's going on, but Alexander doesn't stop. Suddenly, the 100-pound cat bolts out of her cage and makes a move that catches everyone off guard. Instead of taking off, she pounces toward the cab of the truck. In a heartbeat, the cat leaps up, trying to get at the ranger who's been poking her. She can't get a firm grip against the smooth surface of the truck door. The enraged leopard slides down while the terrified ranger frantically struggles to roll up the window. He's not fast enough. The angry leopard lunges at Alexander with her razor-sharp claws. She's half in, half out. The ranger is fighting for his life. In the wild, leopards take down their prey by going for the jugular. She's trying to do the same here. Using her 3-inch long claws on her powerful paws, she grabs Alexander's head in an effort to bite down on his neck. The leopard repeatedly slashes his head and chest here and here. She also sinks her 2-inch long teeth into his hands. Just when it looks like the vicious cat is about to win, Alexander gets both his feet up and literally kicks the killer cat away before she delivers a fatal bite. Still, the leopard inflicts serious damage before finally bolting off. Alexander is rushed to the hospital. It takes 21 stitches to close his bloody wounds. The grateful ranger learns a painful lesson about irritating a frightened leopard.
I was terrified, and it hurt me pretty badly. Look at my head. It's cracked. It ripped apart, almost made me blind. I learned a very painful lesson I will never forget.
I thank God that is alive today.
In the end, the mission was accomplished. The female cat disappeared into the brush, into her new home far away from people.